All right, it's going. Yeah.
Figured it
Okay.
out.
Okay.
So today I'm Lizzie.
I'm Sammy.
I'm Shay.
I'm Roxy. Oh.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So we need to what first? Introduction to ALA,
Yeah.
teaching strategies, lessons plan, and using educational technology. So
All right.
you can't do the summary of the meeting yet, right?
Yeah. That's afterwards. So the first one that we're supposed to talk about is what types of instructional practices were used in the ELA lesson plans.
All right, so the small and large group discussions, I guess.
Yeah. The I do, we do, you do, which is called indirect instruction, which I just found out.
Which we learned.
We learned.
Yeah.
And like peer work, stuff
Yeah.
like that together.
And lots of
She read this-
assessments.
Yeah, she read this as peer work and assignments, but two separate things. So assessments, we want to we want to assess these kids with practices. So that was a big part of ELA. I don't think she clearly read that. Then
Mine had a lot of formative assessments in it.
Oh, your thing, yeah. So did mine.
Mine didn't have a lot of formal assessments. It had a lot of informal assessments, which
Yeah, so did mine.
good too. They're sometimes easier than formal assessments, I think.
Oh yeah.
Working in schools already.
What types of educational technology were used in the ELA lesson plans? So we identified a huge one was PowerPoints.
Yeah.
Mine basically was the sole purpose. Like they were a science class and they based it a lot off technology. So PowerPoint was a big point for me.
Yeah, mine had a lot of smartboards and like just easy things like highlighters or markers, stuff like that.
Yeah. A lot of interactive whiteboard stuff.
Yeah.
Mine used a bunch of recording devices too.
Yeah.
So that the kids could hear themselves read.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that one really helped with the fluency too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for this one, I mean, this next one we kind of struggled with, I guess. So what UDL principles did you discover in the ELA lesson plans?
So in the video, she talked a lot about kind of more, I don't know, the principles of it, which is making sure that we have multiple means of representation.
Yeah, we want everyone to be able to do what we're doing, whatever we want to do.
Yeah, like that. I don't remember. I'll have to find it. That one quote that we read in that first chapter we talked about. We read it. What is essential to some is almost always good for all. So that's essentially what UDL stands for. It's really helpful for those ones that learn in certain ways, but it's not going to hurt everybody if we're going to do it this way. And if we have multiple representations of multiple learning, then
so like differentiating, I think that's the word.
And like different means of assessment. That was like a big one too, because I mean especially kids with special needs, they all have different strengths and weaknesses. So we're always making modifications and accommodations to their needs. So UDL works hand in hand with that.
Yeah, I think it works really well. Special.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right. So is that the last of those questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, individual contributions. So we are going to summarize the instructional strategy and occupying lesson plan you selected to read and the information you prepared to share with the group. Be sure to include a description of the instructional strategy, description of the lesson plan, and types of technology to use.
Sweet.
Sammy, you first.
All right. So the strategy that I did some more research on was self-questioning, which I thought was really cool. Because, I mean, we do all of these strategies without knowing what they are, and then learning how to implement them is kind of cool. Essentially, self-questioning is just the strategy that involves questioning everything you're doing while you're reading. So you ask questions before you read, you ask questions while you're reading, and then you ask questions after you're reading. And this really helps to keep you active while you're reading, because I don't know about you guys, but when I read, sometimes I zone out. I'm like, what am I reading?
Me too.
So this would really help with that, and especially with students. And then also expands your comprehension, which is really important. It's a key aspect to teaching and teaching students, is making sure they're comprehending what they're doing. And then in the lesson plan that it gave, the teacher, first she explained it really well on what self-questioning was. She wasn't just going to throw them out there. So I think that's really important, is making sure they understand. And then after she explained it, they worked together on it. So she modeled what it looked like. So she was reading a text, and she would ask questions while reading and have the students answer. So they were engaged, and it also gave them some ideas of what good questions were. And then before she sent them off on their own, she pulled up on the interactive whiteboard what do you call it? A graphic organizer that she already created, and had them come up and write questions about the text. And she explained that there's 3 different kinds of questions that you can ask. There's literal questions, inferential questions, and evaluative questions. So she put in each column, and they got to ask different questions, and she went through and talked about the questions. And then this kind of gave them an idea of what good literal, inferential, and evaluative questions are. And then she sent them on their own to ask questions and read and reread the text, thinking of more questions. And of course, she walked around while doing that. And while you're walking around, you're also assessing. So there's that informal assessment that you're looking out for too. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, my turn.
Yep.
Okay, so I did the instructional strategy of pre-writing. So this is the first stage of writing. We think of this as what is followed after or before the drafting and reviewing of your final paper. A lot of teachers and students consider this the brainstorm of their thoughts and the roadmap. So it's really helping kids identify what they're going to be talking about. So they say their topic and then branch things out on what they're going to be talking about within their main topic, so subtopics and everything. This is really important for kids to kind of sit down and figure out rather than just jumping into a paper. So it's a really good instructional strategy to use no matter what you're working with, writing a paper for English, any type of science lab, and that was kind of what my lesson plan kind of worked with. The teacher was doing a science lesson, and she had a template of the student lab report and kind of just laid out like things that she's already done, like a lab report she's already done, and what is considered a good lab report, and how these can help students kind of get their thoughts together when they're actually writing up their lab report at the end. So kind of like a little checklist. That's what she made it into, like, oh, did you get this, and what happened and where? So kind of just helping the kids follow up, them not really knowing that they're doing a pre-writing activity. Then she had the students make a copy into their portfolio, and so they could hear it on like a technology and see it. She also displayed information and images over the week. So over a period of time, she used her interactive whiteboard and her what's it called? PowerPoint. And then by the end of the week, she kind of was following up with her students by circulating them and kind of using their checklist to pre-write. And then they used like some sort of graphic organizer too. As some people kind of think of it as that, but that was mine.
Okay. Cool. I'll go.
I want your dog.
All right. So mine is visualizing, and so it's basically when readers scan and interpret the text, and it's like forming a mental image of what's happening. And it's important because it aids readers in processing information, and it starts comprehension of text. And it also makes it feel more real and engages the student more into the text. And it also helps them take ownership so they understand all the details, I guess. And yeah, it just like helps with reading more to make it more enjoyable and personal. And so with the lesson plan, the teacher it was like 3 sections, and so it was activities before the reading, and that was when the teacher asked the students to visualize the setting, situation, and what the characters look like based on the cover or the beginning of the text. And then after reading it for a while, the teacher would ask the students to pause and like share their mental images, ask them to talk about what they are picturing. And then after the reading, the students choose an aspect of the text and they start to draw a picture of what they think it looks like. And they look for descriptive words when they're trying to visualize it and draw what the writer described. And so pretty much the technology is just like easy things like markers or colored pencils or even just like paper. And they can also use like comic book creation things. And a really big one was the interactive whiteboard because they could just like draw right onto it. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dude, I think that's awesome because I'm such a visual, hands-on kind of learner.
So am I.
So
Same.
Yeah, that's like so perfect for me. Like now that I think about it, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine was semantic mapping, and it's basically just like graphic organizers. It helps students use like their prior knowledge to kind of understand a new topic or like a book or a vocab word or something like that. It just kind of helps them organize stuff. And the lesson plan that the thing gave me was a teacher read a book aloud. She read it aloud twice and then had the kids read it aloud. And she used the smartboard and put like a graphic organizer up on it, kind of like a word map. And she had them organize their ideas. And so they put one character in the middle, and then they had like different like traits about the character kind of thing and different things they did in the story. And they ended up, the students helped place like information in their discussion. And then after the students read one of their books that like they all had different reading levels and stuff, so they got a book that fit the best with their levels of reading. And they read their book twice and then did a map of their own. And they just used a lot of the whiteboards, the PowerPoints. They used recording devices to read their book. And they read the book twice to make sure that they were fluent with it and understood it and got the good comprehension they needed to. So, yeah, mine was pretty simple.
I think that kind of goes back with that visualizing aspect. So I think that's another tool you can use if you have visual learners.
It helps you understand it more for sure.
Yeah. Break it down a little bit too.
Kind of works with like the UDL. Just offering like different types of like ways to memorize things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's multiple purposes for graphic organizers. So that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
You can explain to a student that they can use it for their vocab or for like their pre-writing or what else do you use graphic organizers for?
You could use it in science if you're comparing two things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use-
Graphic organizers are for anything.
That's, I mean, I think that's pretty universal, which is awesome because we obviously want to identify things that everyone can be doing.
Mhm.
So that was something I pulled away from that.
And there's so many different kinds of graphic organizers that they're just kind of like a universal thing that, like, I use them all the way up into my senior year. Like,
Oh
you
yeah.
could use them for anything at any grade level.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we done with our strategies? Is everyone feeling good about them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Let's kind of talk about a summary, and kind of just verbally talk about it.
Yeah.
Sammy,
Okay.
you want to start us off?
Sure. I think this is going to be really nice because sometimes I read things like the UDL, and sometimes it's hard for me to put it into reality until I talk about it and verbalize it. And so kind of just like listening to your guys' lessons and strategies and stuff, like it really helps me put it into perspective with the UDL. And so like that's kind of something that I've taken away from today. Something that, I don't know, just that summary, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't realize how much I like picked out of like reading until I talk about it. So that helps me too.
Yeah.
I usually get a lot of different things out of reading too. Like, I'll pick like one thing out and remember it, and then somebody.
Uh-oh.
Jay.
Jay's frozen.
Am I back yet?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I heard some of it, and you'll pick one thing out of a reading, and then blah, blah.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
So it's like I remember one specific thing, and then somebody else like remembers a different thing. Quit. So it helps me get like the best of both worlds with everything.
I'm super big on reading something. I really like to highlight and read something and then go talk about it. That is a huge way I learn, is by any type of conversation, because there's a lot of times where I'm like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
So, kind of just talking about what lesson plans, what was going on in the lesson plan, and then what the UDL was and how we can apply it to every situation and make sure every kid is benefiting from it. So that was some really big takeaways. I kind of was agreeing with Sammy on that one.
Yeah, same. All right.
You think we're good?
All right. Good work, team.
You think I can end it?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay,
Sweet.
cross your fingers. Hey, guys.